Alan Wake 2 is the sequel to the 2010 horror game with the same name. This is a survival horror game developed by Remedy Entertainment, and a full playthrough will take you about 17 to 24 hours, depending on how much you focus on the optional collectible content. I would usually start by talking about the story, but I feel the style has always defined Remedy Entertainment, so much that it's only natural to start with that. Remedy Entertainment is just one of those studios that have a really distinct style in their games. They like to make what we can call cinematic action games. They mix real life and in-game cinematics and tend to tell their story with a heavy flair which represent the thought process of the main character. In Max Payne, the story had a heavy noir feeling, with much of the story told through comic books. Control went more awake by telling the story through the scattered thoughts of the main characters, slowly revealing the story that was happening. And in Alan Wake, the story is told from the perspective of a noir crime thriller writer who is stuck in a horror story. And Mr. Wake speaks with a flair that I find quite charming and sometimes a bit too flowery for my taste. There are quite a few real-life acted sequences in the game, be it on random TVs or full-on musical numbers at one point, but the two styles are mixed really well, making it feel fitting and purposeful. And it's really no surprise, as Remedy Entertainment has been mixing real-life acted sequences for almost 2 decades now. And with the excellent voice acting, music, and just general acting, this game really shines when it comes to the scenes. But now let's talk about the story and the gameplay. This is the direct sequel to Alan Wake. Our titular character is stuck in the dark place, which is this sort of a dream-like other world. He got stuck there around the end of the first game and now wants to return to the real world, but it is easier said than done. Throughout the game, you play both Alan and Saga Anderson. She is an FBI agent who has come to the small town of Bright Falls to investigate a peculiar murder. You start the game playing her, then play some of Alan's story, before getting the freedom to choose which order you play their stories in. Overall, I found it really fun to play both characters, as each one had their unique mechanics to deal with, while also sharing a really solid and nice base. Though both of them share the same control style and gunplay. You fight enemies with guns and light, having to avoid getting overwhelmed by numerous shadows while trying to conserve your ammo and batteries, which you carry in your limited inventory space, which can be expended if you find certain items, but will remain an important balancing act throughout the game, as is quite fitting for survival horror. Overall, I found the gameplay quite satisfying. The main concept of the gunplay is dealing with lights and shadows to reveal your enemy's weak point and utilizing it to do massive damage to them. But that is what they share, so let's talk about what is different between Alan and Saga. As Saga, you play a detective. You go around places investigating, dealing with monsters of course, and you gather evidence. Saga can enter her mind place where she can mentally try to deduce information from certain characters, and this is also where her caseboard is. You will spend a lot of time with this caseboard. This is where Saga puts up all her evidence. It both helps her know what to do next so you can progress, and it also tends to give you more information about the items you saw. This is also the place where you can hold information about your unique collectibles, as Alan and Saga have completely different collectibles. For Saga, these are lunchboxes and these rhyme puzzles they can solve, while Alan will seek out words of power and echoes on his side. I found Saga's story to be very interesting, as you interact with the people of Bright Falls and your partner Alex Casey, who just happens to share a name with Alan Wake's main protagonist from his detective novels. And Saga will be going through familiar and unfamiliar areas of Bright Falls, and we will learn more about her family history, and the horror that is unfolding in the little town. On Alan's side, you get to play in the dark place. Here the rules of reality work more like dream logic than anything else. Big part of the playthrough is figuring out how to progress through this twisted world by using Alan's power of writing and light. Alan will have a lamp which allows him to turn on and off certain lights which drastically changes the area, making walls disappear or appear, and even changes to where doors lead you to. And in certain places, known as scenes, you can write different stories which drastically change the area as well, opening up progress, collectibles, or just some really dark things. I genuinely can't pick if I like Saga's or Alan's playthrough better. I found each side to be a refreshing break from the other. The grounded reality being invaded by horror and the madness of the dark place give both unique experiences. So when I got to pick the order I played their content through, I tried to do a chapter or two each before shifting over to the other, which allowed me to keep the game fresh throughout. And by the end, I felt satisfied. I found the game to be a good length, have interesting story and some absolutely amazing moments. The music is great and I enjoyed gathering up various snippets of paper, learning more about what was happening around Bright Falls, and this peculiar situation with Alan. Finishing the game, I honestly want a sequel, but I'm also aware it's probably gonna take a while. But for me, the game was absolutely worth playing. At times it's quite slow, but I found it pleasant to play, and I kept on wanting to go back to it every time I took a break. The only thing I really did not like was how keen they are of having flashing images show up on the screen as sort of these jump scares. But by the end, I had kind of become numb to them, and they were just kind of this annoyance that happened on the screen from time to time. But outside of that, I really don't have anything to complain about. But is the game worth it for you? If you enjoy the storytelling of Max Payne, Control, and Alan Wake, I really think you will enjoy it. Just keep in mind that this is a survival horror, so don't expect to go in with the same gunplay as Control or Max Payne. But in the end, of course, it's up to you if the game is worth playing. So tell me, do you think Alan Wake is worth playing? Have you played it and what were your thoughts on it? And what are you playing right now? And of course, let me know if there's anything you think I should review or a topic we should talk about on the channel. But whatever you do, I hope you have a lovely day.